What's up guys, welcome to AnimeKouhai. If you want to help me out, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel.
I would say my role more often was to provide rear support, yes. When I was a White King, I'd often use summoning magic to bring forth an army of undead, overwhelming foes with my sheer numbers.
I'm sure he did. There was no rule that said a floor guardian had to fight solo, so all we had to do was bring on someone to take up the front row for him.
Right? So I think it was a mistake for me to pit you against parties of people.
Yes, I do have a variety of martial arts at my disposal, but with this body of bones, it's all rather incompatible.
No, that's not the issue. He must have mistakenly thought I was scolding him. Punches and kicks weren't going to solve anything.
Nah, don't worry about that. If you're fighting a single person, then fine, but if it's more than one, call for some friends of your own. You had one, didn't you? I think his name was.
Oh, you mean my friend Alberto?
Yeah, right, Alberto. I guess he's a skeleton right now, but he used to be an Imperial acolyte, didn't he? Good enough with a sword to trouble Hakuro, even. That's the kind of strength you need. And if he's got the right equipment, he can still cut it in a fight today, right?
Yes, with his talents, I am sure he can live up to your expectations, Sir Rimuru.
I could sense the pride in Adelman's voice. Now I was getting more confident about the idea I had.
Okay, can you give him this equipment for me later?
I produced a set of gear from my stomach and laid it out on the floor. Previously, I had heard Alberto was capable of fighting without a shield, so I figured this was the best set for him. Cursed sword. A one-handed, medium-length sword that absorbs life force from its surroundings, including the wielder, making it a failure as a weapon. Cursed mail. Produces a constantly deployed barrier with high magical resistance and defense, but also continually saps the wearer's life force. These two items were collaborations between Karabe and Garm, both trying to extract as many features from them as possible. They were planning to create a whole series, but they shelved it once they realized no living being could use them. Garm, in particular, actually collapsed while crafting them. Things were touch and go for a little while. We could laugh about that now, but given that backstory, we were all a bit loath to just throw these things away. Besides, they both worked really great. Unique caliber gear, you could even call them. But since monsters count as living creatures too, we figured they were completely unusable, and now, as I realized, that's no issue at all with the undead.
What do you think? You don't feel sick or anything holding them, do you?
I feel nothing in particular. We are already dead, after all.
Adelman checked them himself to be sure. The moment he unsheathed the sword, Shuna and Shion began to wince. That life-absorb feature must have been working. Given how Adelman wasn't phased at all, undead must have been impervious to it.
Great. I think you'll be okay, then.
Back in its sheath, the sword no longer sapped our energy, but that alone could make it pretty decent for attacking.
Oh, and there's this, too.
It was a surcoat, an outer garment, made of my sticky steel thread, a superior piece, resistant to heat and cold and also resilient against bladed weapons. These were circulating around as part of the Tempest-made goods we had available, but we charged an arm and a leg for them.
Very well, I will be sure Alberto receives these. He will be overjoyed, I promise you.
Great. With Alberto fighting for him, Adelman would have a lot more options in battle now. Oops. Just remembered.
And, Adelman, I want you to have this.
I took out a jet black robe, like something a priest from some dark, sinister cult would wear. It looked kind of cool, actually, not to mention gaudily decorated. It was, in fact, one of the most impressive pieces of the whole Tempest clothing collection, something worth at least 100 gold coins, or the equivalent of a luxury sports car. Even royalty or nobility couldn't shell out for this without due consideration. Truly top of the line. And it performed well, too. Amazingly, even if it got ripped, it'd use self-regeneration to fix itself up. That made it a magic item, one with features you almost never saw.
Oh.
Adelman respectfully took it from me.
I'd like you to put that on and greet any challengers you see like you're still a White King. I think that'll help create more of a floor guardian atmosphere with you, you know?
This was more a matter of taste than anything, my taste, but still. I had also asked Ramirez to help me renovate this floor. We envisioned something like a throne room, with Adelman leading an army of undead like the king he was.
I will gladly do that, Sir Rimuru. It happens to be one of my talents.
Nice. It seemed like I could rely on him.
Okay, I'll leave you be here, then. Also, if you have any other talented knights you'd like to have serving you in here, knock yourself out.
Understood, my lord. If I could check with you on one thing.
What is it?
Well, I would like to bring one of my pets here with me, but could I ask for your permission?
A pet? Didn't seem like an issue.
Well, sure, if that's all it is. You can use whatever pets you want in battle, actually. Just try not to have them outnumber the parties attacking you.
Yes, my lord. I have been granted this land by my god, and I promise you that I, Adelman, will protect it with all the ability I can muster.
Overreacting again. I let it slide. It wasn't worth commenting on.
Okay, we're gonna be renovating this space to look like a throne room tonight, so feel free to choose whoever you want to serve you. If you have any questions, ask Shuna or Ramirez.
Yes, my lord.
May the words of Sir Rimuru propel you forward.
Xian had to butt in there. I really wish she didn't, but she seemed happy with herself, so I didn't pursue it. The next day, we all came together at the appointed hour.
Adelman's floor is just perfect now.
The moment she caught sight of me, Ramirez started bragging. As she had reported, she completed the throne room the previous evening.
Thanks much. The rest, I think we can leave to Adelman.
Are you sure?
Well, he'll perform better than he did yesterday anyway. If he's fighting an A ranker, he's gonna have trouble, but he'll at least be able to expose his opponent's skills for us.
The longer Adelman held out, the more serious his foes would get. That's where Raphael would step in, analyzing the battle and figuring out how we should best respond, valuable info we could leverage in the next floor. Despite everything I said to Adelman, it really wasn't any big deal if he lost. Besides, depending on the decisions we made right now, both he and, for that matter, Bovix may be idle for a long time to come. We needed to address every facet of this. So, time to start implementing.
What are you doing? I heard all about it. My dragons got pummeled?
Now that's the last person I wanted to see, Milim, storming into the conference room and looking absolutely livid. In her hand was Gobta, looking like a dirty old rag. He was being dragged along, but it looked like he was still breathing. I could hear him muttering,
I did it. I sure did. I finished it all.
Over and over to himself, too, so I guess he was conscious. Milim's training must have really done a number on him, but he didn't look any stronger to me, just kind of, okay, a lot more beat up. Was he all right? Milim nodded at me, oblivious to my concern.
Yes. Yes, Gobta performed brilliantly. I didn't think he'd ever beat Hell Mode.
She did look pretty satisfied. And judging by the praise from Milim, Gobta must have performed a truly monumental feat.
In that case, it is time to teach him my Veldora-style death stance.
No, it's not. Gobta is my disciple.
Veldora and Milim promptly began arguing, a completely spent Gobta to the side of them. I really didn't want to get involved with that, so I'll leave that choice up to Gobta. Glad he's home safe, at least. I was going to reward him later. Once I had his attention, I ordered Gobta to get some rest. He promptly headed to a nearby nap room. Did I mention Ranga?
My master, I have returned.
He was wobbly as he padded toward me, voice hoarse. Gobta looked bad, and Ranga was about the same. Pretty intense training, I guess. I reflexively gave him a pat on the head. He squinted appreciatively.
Good job. You can rest in my shadow now.
He jumped right in the moment I said it. By the way, once he had recovered enough, I asked Gobta what they were up to. It turned out that his training was nothing but on the field battle, back-to-back fighting against monsters either at his level or slightly above it. Once he and Ranga were in perfect sync with each other, they moved on to a never-ending string of battles against people like Caroline and Midray. As Milim apparently put it to him,
No matter how hard you try, you're never gonna house more magicals within your body. But don't worry. If you can unify with Ranga, that immediately solves the problem. And once you learn how to master the increase in power, you'll be fine. So leave the magical surge to Ranga, and just try to polish up your senses.
So it was nothing but battle sense training since then.
He concluded with a smile. He had also learned the extra skill Sage, which let him speed up his thoughts. I was pretty impressed. Having Milim back was a boon, actually. After leaving Adelman, I had been making the necessary preparations all night, just barely wrapping everything up in time. Promptly, I took out one of the items I had completed. Veldora, Ramirez, and Milim each gave it curious stares as I held it in my hand.
Pay attention, everyone. I have a special item here, something I've been developing for a little while. Personally, I think it's groundbreaking. It'll help us solve the problems we're facing in the labyrinth, and it'll also add some more fun to all our lives.
I gave all three one of their own. I didn't expect Milim in today, but I was planning to invite her over once I had something practical to share, so hers was all set to go. The idea for this came from the homunculus Archduke Errol used earlier. I figured that having access to temporary bodies would let you do some pretty neat stuff.
What's this?
Never seen this before. Do I eat it?
To me, it looks like a vessel for the soul, or the like.
Milim, Ramirez, and Veldora seemed equally curious. No, Ramirez, it wasn't food. Did she think everything I brought over for her was food? Oh, well, Veldora was fairly close to the right answer. These items were quasi-compartments for souls. When transferring your consciousness to a homunculus, a corridor is established between it and your soul using some magic. I had analyzed and assessed the core components of that magic, revising them for my own needs. This was what I gave to Trainee, a vessel for her chaos core. I called it a pseudo-soul.
Veldora's almost got it. This device imitates a soul vessel. I can't provide a soul itself, so instead, I tried to create a substitute that mimics one.
Ho, why did you do that?
Veldora, maybe pleased he got it right, tried to sound as intelligent as possible. There was no need for me to put on airs. I could go ahead and just state my aims, but before that, I wanted to surprise them a little. After all the effort I spent on this, I thought I deserved a bit of fun.
Hey, not so fast, not so fast. I'll explain everything to you, okay? But next up, I've also got this. Take it and try to imagine a monster in your mind. Anyone is fine.
I then took out a set of black balls, each about the size of a fist, and handed them to my audience. Veldora gave it an odd look.
Any type?
Yeah, either an existing one or whatever crazy thing comes to mind for you.
So a goblin, or an orc? Or a horned hare, or an ogre bear, or anything?
Sure, but make sure it's something you like. I don't want you to complain about your choice afterward.
Alright, a monster, then? Do these create monsters who you'll repel labyrinth challengers with?
Something like that.
He was always super sharp with things like this.
That's it for this video, guys. Thank you for always watching my videos and supporting my channel. Shoutout to Laurentio Catalin Duduanu, Fennec Foxy, Skatosh Corner Store, Rahul Subramanian, Captain Jules, Wubba Lubba Dub Dub, Ice B, JNCKS, Kendrick Howell, and last but not least, shoutout to Mark Bozeman. I'll see you guys in the next video.